Hello and welcome. Right, this is the daily loop. Let's get into it. Transfer bids. Right, Ishikawa, I don't think we want to give up, but this guy, however, Gerardo, maybe we do. Maybe we do, because he's not really perfect for us, I would say, just because of we want him for the up and back role, and the tackling just isn't high enough. So he's far from perfect. So maybe we do just want to sell him. So we could just sell him. We'll look first before we make the decision to sell, because I think if we find another wide midfielder we're happy with, we definitely will sell him, so it's not worth mulling over it too much. And if we don't, then we can mull over it. And the other one is Ishikawa, and I don't think we want to sell him. He's just doing too well for us, really. He's cooled off a fair bit with only one goal in the last 4 games, but still pretty good overall. And I'd say that cooling off just correlated with signing this guy, who's partially overlapped with signing this guy, who's fully overlapped with it, really, who's just been scoring a lot. So yeah, I think the question when we go to play the matches as well is we probably use we got one more recovery left. We probably will use it. I didn't actually check if we had one left. Yes, we do. Okay. Right, unless we find a DC now, then maybe we won't. Let's go to the Academy Trialists. So the flare is quite important. There's only 10, but still it's probably the case at this point that you're just going to wait to find these last 2 out, because he could be useful for wide midfielder role, box-to-box midfielder role, AMC role, probably the wide midfielder role, either the up and back one or just the attacking one. But yeah, but potentially both. The passing and the tackling both come out high, then he could be box-to-boxes. He could be quite useful, basically. This guy, the speed came up and it's 59, so that's awesome. So tackling is next. Let's see if he gets like 58 to 60 tackling, then it's like, wow, just like basically max in marking, speed, aerial ability and tackling. That'd be pretty awesome, but we won't get ahead of ourselves. He goes from being potentially like world class to useless if it's low versus super high there, because it's the most important attribute probably for him. So our positioning just doesn't matter in S4. Agility 31, determination's come out alright at 40, and control it's only 24, which isn't good. There's a couple players I think we're happy to give him up. There's a couple we'd be happy to give up for a good. Let's just check. So we don't need to. We're not looking. On this guy, for example, we're just happy to wait and see the tackling, because if that's really high, then basically he's probably going to be a pretty decent box-to-box midfielder. We've got to add positions to all these guys, which isn't ideal. This guy, we're happy just to wait to find out the speed, pretty much. And this guy, we're just happy to wait to find out the speed as well. This guy, we're just happy to find out the speed as well, basically. This guy, we're happy to find out the tackling, and this guy, so we're just happy to hold all of the ones we've got. So it's going to take quite the player to want tempt us to dislodge anybody, so I'm not even going to really comment on all the ones unless they're close. So this guy, he's got good passing and he's fast, but he's got good determination, which we care a lot about. He's got good control, but I just think on the whole, he's just worse than this guy, probably. I mean, you can see his average revealed attribute is only 26. He's got some good high stuff, but just thing is, for MCs, like in particular of all positions, MCs are one of the ones that really do just benefit quite a lot from just generally having a good high, overall, just generally having high attributes, because it doesn't, all of the attributes are quite useful, basically. It depends on stuff, of course, but I think of all the positions, they're the one that benefits the most from just being good at many different things. And also, it's not particularly great when they're bad at many things. They can be a problem, let's say. The one exception maybe being crossing. Under most circumstances, it doesn't matter too much if that's slow, but nearly, because they don't often end up in positions where they cross. But aside from that, then it depends on the role. Like, you can certainly make roles that make certain ones. But anyway, the point remains, high attributes matters more for central midfielders than other positions, generally speaking. Right, don't use right back. I think just, again, not as good as the ones we've got. 23 tackling. Let's just skip through. He's looking alright, but again, just the one that we've got here, if that tackling comes out high, he could be like world class centre half. So there's some decent players here. This one could sort of, but just not enough to want us to dislodge any of these guys, because these are all very close to a big attribute being revealed pretty much. So let's go to the auctions. No, scatter players first. It's got 80 speed for a 21-year-old. I think that's pretty fast. It can be faster, but it's pretty fast. So decently well-rounded centre half. We could be interested. The buy price is only $2.95, but yeah, I don't know. I think we'll pass. It's just, again, it's just a bit old. I think we got asked the question about when we're saying what does that mean exactly, too old when they're 28 or 27 or something. It means that we're trying to get players now that will basically be hitting their prime, so turning 26, 27, 28 when we arrive in the Masters League. That's the idea here. That's the concept. The concept is that we're capable of building a team with mostly built upon younger players now to get promoted in the division that we're in. So we don't need a 28-year-old to get promoted. We'll get promoted with younger players. So when we're saying they're too old, all we're really saying is they're not too old for anybody. They're just too old for us because we're in a low division. If we were in a high division, fine. It'd be totally fine. If you're in the Masters League or Division 1 and you can get a player that's just going to improve your team and they're 28, that's great. That's a great age. And in fact, it's probably necessary. On the most part, you are going to have to get players around that age to improve your team. You're not really going to generally get 22-year-olds or something that are going to be an improvement on your first team. That's not really going to happen that much. So that's what we mean. That's all we mean. It's just we want players that, if you look now, we are in Division 4. So we need 3 more promotions. So even if they're back to back, the players would be 3 years older than they are now. So we want basically, ideally, our ideal age for players would be like 23, basically, so that they're sort of 26 starting their prime when we hit the Masters League. That'd be ideal. But they could be a bit older, like 24, sort of okay, whatever. So, but the 23 is kind of the ideal age. But we will, get players a bit over that. but that's the idea, that's the concept here. So thing is, at 23 you can stretch for 24 and maybe 25, but the thing is that 28 is just a lot older than 23. Yeah, so the idea is, and the other thing as well, you know, that's your best case scenario of 3 back-to-back promotions. It's not really guaranteed at all that will happen. Looking like we will get promoted this season, but getting promoted from Division 1 to the Masters League in particular is not going to be that straightforward, especially with a team of younger players. That's going to be potentially a little bit tricky, and potentially we would need to sign a 28-year-old, a couple of players in their prime to help us overcome that hurdle. But again, even then, that's 2 seasons. By then he'll be 30, and it's still sort of okay. But yeah, I mean, having said that, like we did, for example, sign Ishikawa, who is 28 himself. So big difference here is that this player just we were looking for ages and ages and ages trying to find an AMC that we were happy with, and we just didn't find one. So we settled, so to speak, for him. But yeah, now we're just on the lookout for basically a younger such player, right? So yeah, but this guy isn't world class and isn't really filling a need that we're desperate to fill. Even if we signed him, he would be our 4th best centre half. So we'd still have 3 that are way younger that are better than him anyway. Right, moving on. Okay, I'll just say as and when I see anything that's grabbing me. We don't really need. Maybe if we needed an MC for the youth team, but we don't. Alright. He's actually, well, the passing's a bit low to be honest. Anyway, but he's pretty good for our up and back wide midfielder role. But he's again just too old, right, for our timeline. So. He's pretty good, but just not. He's pretty cheap as well. He's pretty good and pretty cheap, to be honest. Let's come back on that. The price matters at the end of the day. He's very cheap. It's only 160k. He's actually pretty good, but I don't know. I think we just pass. It's just weird how it's turned out that we've ended up oversubscribed at the moment in the striker department. I think we got a player worth like 4 million that's not even on the bench, basically, who's a striker. So it's just a squad set situation at the moment as to why we won't buy him. Let's go to the auctions quickly. I think these ones we just sort by, well, we were sorting by age, but well, let's just still let's sort by value, because I think that's gonna. Well, to be honest, if we find the right player, wow, this guy's got 90 speed at 22 years old, 400k. Somebody's bid for him. I would say they're going to get outbid by somebody. Not us, but somebody is. Need to make a decent. I mean, if they can't afford it to play the full amount, then so be it. But yeah, but I'm just going to hazard a guess they're going to be outbid for this player. So you need to. We'll check that tomorrow and see if we're right or wrong about that. But yeah, this is the thing. It's you need to make a bit of a judgment call with these sort of things about, because he's pretty good. That's the thing. Like, he's pretty well rounded as well. It's not. I mean, he's not awesome, but this amount of speed isn't normal. And the training boost is alright as well. The 3 strength is going to matter with that speed. The crossing is going to matter. vision. I mean, yeah, he's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Managed to get that just without anybody selecting the training options for him, it seems. Right, let's go back to those auctions list. So he's a pretty decent centre half, to be honest, but again, just too old for us. Plus, we wouldn't really think now we really care about is this deep line playmaker. So if we're looking, we should just be really looking for passing and vision. He's alright, but I think we need to do some proper analysis into his stats. We did look at a few matches before the other day, though. He gets quite a lot of interceptions, so I would say speed matters. I'd say positioning probably matters. He typically does get quite a lot of pass attempts, and a lot of those are long balls as well, so the passing and the vision really matters. And he does attempt a few tackles, so the tackling matters. And he attempts headers as well. But my priorities, I think, would be to unleash more through balls, more deep through balls to our attacking players, because we've got some faster attacking players now, so I think that needs to take a higher priority to better unlock them. So we just really need somebody with really, really high passing and vision, and then just sufficient other stuff, I think, is what we should be looking for. And this could be the guy, to be honest. Except we probably can't afford him. I'll just see if we can even make the minimum bid. No. But I think this is pretty close. I mean, ideally a lot of stuff would be higher, but the most important stuff, which is what we were saying, is pretty good. And he isn't slow, he's just not fast. And the positioning isn't particularly great, but the main stuff, the passing is super high, which is good. What's his control? Yeah, ideally that would be higher as well, because he'd be receiving the ball a lot from our defenders. But again, he's just too expensive for us. And now we're getting way too expensive. Right. I mean, I think we'd have to sell somebody to buy this guy. I think what we'll do is we'll just see if he's still there tomorrow. Because it's definitely not worth selling someone, because we're only going to be able to scrape basically around that minimum amount. So let's just see if he's still there tomorrow, and then we can make a decision then. So the other one was just, we'll check what this guy ends up going for. I don't know if we're going to remember, to be honest. It's 401k. I don't know if we're going to even remember these things to check, but I guess if we're getting used to just clicking this each day, then even if we don't remember, can rewatch the videos to remember then. So you could do it, maybe that makes it interesting anyway. We just quickly check the most expensive player each day. Right, so that's 14.5 million. It's pretty good. It's a lot of money. Okay. Right. And the last thing is the training options. So you can get the 2 in the shot positioning, or 2 in natural fitness, 1 in rushing out, and 1 in distribution. So I guess it's this one. And I'll pass in. So they're both 4 tackling, so that's the first thing I went to look for. The crossing doesn't really matter, but I think it's still this side, because the passing matters a bit here. The crossing doesn't really matter, but then the determination does, because he is playing, so the determination matters. And the strength matters a bit. I think it's this one, even though it's got all that crossing you don't care about. Just to get that extra... I mean, you really don't care about the crossing at all. That's the thing. The crossing just doesn't matter at all. So that doesn't even basically count for anything. Because we're not really looking to sell this guy, I don't think. So, well, let's see if we are. I mean, I don't think so. I think we're just planning to keep him long term. So, we don't even care about the crossing, whatever value effect. And I don't think we're going to end up putting him in another position. Or maybe, because he's got high dribbling. So he potentially could end up something weird like a ML or MR for us in the future. So maybe it isn't completely useless. Maybe. Alright, let's go with that. You never know what the future holds, and he could be a pretty useful utility player if he can play like centre half and wide midfielder as well. Could be way more useful. Just as sort of a good defensive option to bring on when we in a wide midfield role when we have to hold a lead, like a wing half or something. It could be pretty good. Right, so let's go back to the training, and that's it. So, alright, thanks for watching, and yeah, we got some matches to play. I imagine what we are going to do is use the injury recovery thing, because we've got both the centre halves out again. So yeah, I guess we're going to play the matches now. So what we'll do is we will go to the medical centre. We'll do it now, just because these are both out again. So we're not really looking to... We're just looking to use these. Our philosophy has just been to use these when we've had specific combinations of injuries that we're really just going to struggle to cope with, and it's going to cost us match results. On the flip side, we could have 5 players injured, but you know, there are just across a variety of positions that we've got decent cover for, and we would be okay to just wait it out. But in particular, like, we've got 3 good centre halves and 1 that's sort of okay, and we start with 3. So as soon as 1's injured, it starts to hurt a bit, and if 2 are injured, it really matters, and it happens to be our best 2 that are out. And by the way, it was these same 2 guys that were out when we last used the treatment as well. So, in the first one we used earlier in the month when we had less of a squad to work with as well, and we had quite a few injuries at once then. So yeah, so they're all used up now, but we still got quite a few matches left. But that's okay, you know, because it was, you know, we don't realistically, we'll find a way to deal with it whatever happens here as well. And I think yeah, so that's that. We'll play the matches now. Thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll catch you for the next video.